Good morning, students. Hope you all doing well at your home. So you might have happened to see the earlier video regarding human health and diseases. So in the previous video, I explained all the terminology that come across in this chapter, that is human health and disease. In today's lecture, I'll go with here the total concepts of this human health and disease. So in this session, we will concentrate on what is meant by health, what are all the concepts related to the health, what are the factors that influence the health, and thereafter what is a disease and how the diseases are classified, on which basis the diseases are classified. About all the things, let us see in a detailed way in today's session. First of all, let us come to these two concepts, health and disease, are the two important here sides of a coin. Coming to the health, here is defined in the earlier days as it is a state of body and mind where certain humors are balanced. So this is what people thought in the earlier days. And you see this technical definition, here it is a health which is here considered, and it's a state of body and mind. So in the body and mind, there you can see the balance of certain humors are maintained. And that was actually considered as the definition of a health in the previous time. Then this is a new term that come across here, the humors. Then what does it mean? Humor is a Greek word. It is a Greek word here. The meaning of this word is fluids. A certain type of fluids are present within the human body, and all these fluids here are responsible for the good health whenever these humors are maintained or when they are all balanced. This is what they thought earlier. Coming to here, the early Greeks like Hippocrates as well as Galen, they believed that the human body is made up of these humors. Then what are these humors? It indicates. So the two important persons, one is the Hippocrates, whereas here the Galen, and they do believe that the human body is made up of these four humors or fluids. Then what are these fluids and what here are how they are all influenced? Let us see now here. One of the humor within the body, it includes the blood, one fluid, whereas the second one is the phlegm. And the third humor, it includes the black bile or black bile it is, and thereafter the yellow bile. So these four humors, whenever they're all here balanced within the body, then only it is considered as a good health. And this hypothesis was given a technical term known as a good humor hypothesis. Good humor hypothesis. And thereafter here there was realized about the real fact. Even with regarding here the Greeks like Hippocrates and even the Indian Ayurveda system of medicine here thought that the person, those who have got the black bile have got a hot personalities, and they do have got the fevers very frequently. And this is actually belief of these two persons. See this one here, Hippocrates as well as Indian Ayurveda system also believed that here the persons whoever have got black bile more in their body, they do have got here hot personalities, and they do here very frequently suffer from the fevers also. This was the belief by that time. Later on, the another scientist, you know very well about him, William Harvey, an England physician, and here he is a physiologist, and he studied about the circulatory system of various organisms, including the insects, and finally he described about the circulatory system here within the body, and thereafter he explained detailedly the reason for the fever and hot personalities. Let us see what he did and how it happened. And see this one, William Harvey is a person. William Harvey, he carried out an experiment on that, and he finally explained how the heart pumps the blood to the various body parts within the body, and through the blood vessels it happens. And thereafter he demonstrated the measuring of the temperature of the body of an animal through here the thermometers. by he demonstrated this one measuring of a temperature with the help of a thermometer, so that he disproved the good human hypothesis theory. So with his experiment, the good human hypothesis theory, it was disproved. Later on, what the biology states about the good health or a health? Actually, the biology, it states that the mental status actually influence the immunity of a person through the nervous system as well as the endocrinal system. Here is the point to be noted. So the biology states that here the mind particularly influences our immunity system is one important thing. Then how this mind influence the immunity system? By two important means. This mind, it influence with a nervous system is one thing, and here it influence with endocrinal system. About these two types of systems we detailedly studied in the first PU in the human physiology chapter. So what I here say, here the mind influence the immunity system through the nervous system and endocrinal system. And coming to this immunity system, it maintains the health of the body, that you can see. This immunity system, it maintains the health of a person. So with these two statements, we can conclude that the mental status influences the health of a person. See this, here the mind as well as the mental status, it affects the health of a particular person. So this is what the biology, it states. Now let us see more detailedly about this here, health and all. So as of now, we happen to see what is the health according to the early Greek personalities as well as the Indian system of Ayurveda. Then what here the health is according to the biology. Now this health is get affected by the various factors. Then what are all the factors that influence the health? Let us see now here in a detailed way. Coming to this health is get affected by three important factors. One of the three important factors which includes the genetic causes. Here the genes of a personalities, definitely here it influences the health. So if any defective gene is present within the body, it causes some genetic disorders, some diseases. Whereas the second one is the lifestyle is one more important thing. The way how you live is considered as your lifestyle. So the lifestyle of a concerned person is definitely affect the health of a one's. And thereafter the infections. Various types of infections are there. In the earlier session, I explained about variety of the pathogens, which includes the bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoan and helminthic parasites. So all these kind of pathogens generally infect the human body and causes the diseases. Let us see here more detailedly these three important types of the factors that influence the health in a detailed way. Coming to the genetic disorders, when you see here how it influences. When this baby is taken birth, then the baby, they may receive a defective genes from their parents. So inheritance of a defective genes from the parents naturally causes diseases in the newly born baby. So this is one important genetic defect. And you know some of the examples for this. The hemophilia is one kind of genetic disorder, and even the color blindness is also one kind of genetic disorder, and sickle cell anemia, Klinefelter syndrome, these are all the varieties of genetic disorders. So these disorders here inherited from the parents to the baby, so that they do get a disease. So here the genetic defect may not be received from the parents directly, and by the time of the childbirth itself, then some of the genetic here deformities takes place within the baby also, without inheriting from the parents. Even in such a cases, children will get a diseases. So all these disorders here are together known as genetic disorders. See the technical definition for this. Here deficiencies here that takes place within the children or newly born one, and here deficiencies or defects that are taken place within the children which are all get inherited from the parents is one thing, or they do get by their own. So here it leads to genetic deformities and finally leads to diseases. But the second important here thing is infections. Various types of pathogens, as I said here, that causes the diseases. So after your birth, even when you are in the mother's womb, different kind of microorganism may infect, that may invent in our body and cause diseases. So about all these infectious diseases we will see in the coming session in a detailed way. Whereas as I said already, it's a lifestyle. So lifestyle is one more important factor that influence the here life of a person. How this lifestyle influence the health of a person, let us see now here. The first here thing is the food and the water that you take definitely influence our health. And coming to here, the different people and here have got their different type of food habits. Even if you take the different religious people and different here people living in the regions, they do have their own style of food habits. And these food habits definitely influence the health of a one person. Meanwhile, each and everyone have got their own food habits also. Even these food habits causes a great problem or great here influence on this one. One is the food and the second one is here the water. Whereas the second lifestyle here, it influences us greatly is the daily exercise that you do and the rest that you take. If you do the exercise regularly, then definitely that makes you to be healthy. And if you take a rest at a proper time and a sufficient time, definitely that makes you healthy. If these two things are get disturbed, generally it may lead to diseases. And thereafter the habits that you have got, if you have a healthy good habits like early walking and here early morning walking and listening to the music and here walking in the woods, all these are the good habits that makes you to be healthy. Instead of that, if you have certain kind of bad habits like consumption of alcohol, tobacco and here abusing of drugs, and these things definitely that influence your health and get damages it and finally leads to diseases in us. So these are the three important factors naturally that affect our health. And whereas coming to the next one is what actually the technical definition that was given by the WHO, let us see now here. And according to the WHO, the definition of the health, it includes, it's a complete state of physical, mental and social well-being is defined as a good health. But as of now, we feel that health is nothing but having a physical fitness or else the absence of a disease. So simply, we cannot say that the health is a absence of a disease or physical fitness. Instead of that, the elaborated, more accepted definition for the health is given, and that is nothing but it is a state of complete, one is physical well-being, whereas the second one is the mental well-being, whereas here the last one is the social well-being. So when you take this one, we can consider it as here a complete health. So as I said already just now here, it is simply not here absence of a disease or physical fitness. So here the three terms that includes. Let me give you elaborated explanation for this health. Coming to here, it includes the physical well-being. If all your body organs and organ systems are functions well, then you will be considered as you are a physically well-being or physically you are fit. That is one thing. Thereafter, the mental well-being is one thing. The way you think, the ideology, all these things comes under the mental well-being. Whereas here, the social well-being is one more important thing. The social well-being in the sense how you respond with the people in your family, with your neighbors, with your friends as well as the rest of the people in the society. The way you respond here with all these people within the society is considered as the social well-being. And apart from these, I can add one more thing is also which is known as emotional well-being also. It comes under a good health. Then what does this emotional health well-being or emotional health? So you should able to here express a right emotion at a right time is known as the emotional well-being. What does that mean? Let me give a simple illustration in this regard so that we will be much clear with this emotional well-being. So suppose you feel that one of your friend met with an accident and so unfortunately he died. If you go to here visit him to his house, after happen to see his dead body, if you laugh at him, so are you here say that you are emotionally well-being? So actually the situation thereover is a sad situation. Instead of expressing your here the sadness, if you are being happy or if you are here laugh at him, definitely it is not right emotion at a right situation. So this is what the here a well-being. And one more illustration here. For example, you went to a movie along with your friends or a family members. When a comedy is going on or when joke is cracked in the movie, instead of laughing, if you cry in such a situation, that is not a right emotion at a right situation. So here my point is, emotional well-being means expression of right emotion at a right time and right situation. So when you have all these things, then you will be considered as a healthy personality. This is what the technical definition of the health. There, generally, as I said here, we do feel that it's simply here absence of a disease or else the physical fitness. These two should not be simply considered as a health. Right. Coming to the next one here, what is here use of a good health? So when you maintain a good health, what is used to an individual, his family and society, and finally to the entire nation? Let us see here the uses of a good health or maintenance of a good health now. And when you see here, when good health is maintained, one important thing, it makes the people healthy. One important thing. When a person is healthy, naturally it increases his work efficiency. Work efficiency of a individual will be get increased. And once the work efficiency is get increased just because of a good health, generally here is the productivity. It increases the productivity in his work as well as in his organization. When the productivity is get increased, generally it leads to economic prosperity of an individual, and it leads to the economic prosperity of a family as well as the society, and finally it leads to the entire nation. So a good health finally leads to the economic prosperity of a individual, family as well as the nation also. So it has got a national importance. And thereafter, when you see, it is increases the longevity of a people. The longevity it includes the lifespan of a person. If a person very frequently suffer from various types of infections in his lifetime, definitely the lifetime will be get reduced. He may die at younger stages or earlier stage. If a person maintains a good health, then the lifespan of a concerned person will be get increased. So good health always leads to longevity of a people is one more important here effect of a good health. Thereafter, good health it reduces the mortality rate of maternal as well as infantile. The mortality means nothing but a death rate. So when a person maintains a good health, it reduces the child death rate as well as a mother death rate also. So we can state that it reduces the mortality of infants and the mortality of the maternal also, mother also. So these are all here the uses of maintenance of a good health. Right, as of now we discussed about the uses of a good health. Now let us come up to the how to maintain a good health. So what you need to do in order to maintain a good health, let us in a detailed way. Coming to the one thing is maintenance of a balanced diet. A person should take a balanced diet. Then what does it mean? There in the first PU, digestion and absorption, there you studied the balanced diet means. Here it is the food that you take which consists of all the required nutrients in a required proportion, then we consider it as a balanced diet. So if any nutrient is deficient or if it is absent in our diet, definitely it may leads to here deficiency diseases. So in order to avoid the deficiency diseases, generally we need to take the balanced diet is one thing, so that we can maintain a good health. Whereas the second important thing is awareness regarding the various types of diseases. So you should be much here knowledge regarding the various types of diseases so in the society and that infects us. So the way of transmission and how to prevent all of these diseases. So when you get a right knowledge of all the diseases, you can take some precautionary steps so that you can protect yourself without infecting from these diseases, so that it is possible to maintain a good health. And thereafter the next one is a personal hygienic. One should maintain a personal hygienic, not only one individual, he should maintain hygienic conditions within his house and even around his house, so that the entire society will be clean. So it can be here possible to us to get stop the spreading of the diseases also. So maintenance of the personal hygienic conditions maintains here a good health. Whereas the second one is the vaccination or immunization. Taking timely vaccinations prevents here various types of diseases. This is one of the best method. So, for example, taking of vaccination for typhoid, taking the vaccination of tuberculosis, polio, measles, chickenpox, that makes us to here protect from these type of infections. So, if you take the vaccination at the right time, that makes you to be here healthy, is one thing. Thereafter, doing a regular exercise. So here when you go for a regular exercises, that makes all your body organs and organ systems to function very well, so that you will be naturally healthy. So that is one more important thing. Thereafter, proper disposal of waste. So during the household activities in our house, various types of waste materials are get produced. So you should maintain here a good here methods of disposing of these waste materials. So that is one more thing. Instead of here doing it, if you throw here outside somewhere in the roadside, generally that may get decomposed, and it may here leads to breeding of the various types of vectors and production of disease causing pathogens also. So that it is easy to the pathogens to get spread among the community. So we should here dispose the waste materials in a proper way. That is one more important thing. Thereafter, the yoga. From the time immemorial, here we have been practicing this yoga in our India. Now it is widely get popularized in the world. So this yoga not only helps to maintain a physical health, the yoga even it helps for maintenance of the mental health also. So if you do practice the yoga daily, that keeps you the mentally and as well as the physically health and fit, right? And thereafter you can see the control of the vectors. I already explained here the vector. Vector is nothing but an organism which gets spread the diseases. You know, the mosquitoes are there which involve in spreading of the disease, and even the houseflies also there, various types of insects are there. They do all get spread from one place to the another place the disease, or one person to the another person the disease. So if you can control the vector population, generally the spreading of the disease can be get controlled, so that here you will be healthy. So that is one more thing. So finally you can see that here maintenance of hygienic conditions in the food that you are taking and the water resource that you are taking off. So you should make sure that the food that you are consuming free from the contamination or free from the pathogens, and meanwhile the water that you are using here must be free from the various types of pathogens or the microorganisms. So whenever you maintain all these things, finally it helps us to maintenance of a good health. So these are all the methods that helps to us to maintenance of this good health. So next one, when you see, as of now we happen to see the definition of a health. What are the factors that influence the health? Thereafter, the uses of a good health, and thereafter then how to maintain a good health. So as of now we happen to see one side of the coin. Whereas let us see the second side of the coin, that is a disease. So what is meant by a disease? Disease is nothing but a condition at which one or more your organs or organ systems are adversely affected, and it results in development of certain characteristic symptoms, and that condition is considered as a disease. Let us see this one. Here disease is a condition when the functions of one or more organs or organ systems of the body is adversely affected and characterized by the various symptoms is technically defined as a disease. Then here coming to these diseases are broadly classified into the different types based on the various concepts. Now let us see more detailedly what is the classification of the diseases and which basis the diseases are classified in a detailed way. And coming to these diseases are categorized into two important things. One, you can say that they are known as congenital diseases, or they are all the genetic diseases or genetic disorders, whereas the second one is known as the acquired diseases. On which basis these diseases are made it into these two groups? Here is based on your birth. So by the birth, whatever the diseases that you do get, all of the diseases are together known as congenital diseases. By the birth, the diseases that you get from your parents, or by the time you are birth, you do have a diseases. All of the diseases are together known as congenital diseases. Generally, all the congenital diseases are genetic disorders. And let me give some of the examples for this. And in this case, sickle cell anemia is one of the example for that. And Down's syndrome, thereafter Klinefelter syndrome, all these are the diseases that you do get here by your birth. Then what is the second category? The diseases that you do get after your birth during your lifespan. So since your birth to the death, whatever the lifespan you have got, during this lifetime, if you get the disease from outside, if you acquire the diseases, then all these diseases are together is known as acquired diseases. Right. Coming to these acquired diseases, again made it into two important here groups. See this one. Based on how these diseases occurs here, whether they get transferred from person to person or do they not get transferred from person to person. First here, the disease of acquired diseases, it includes the infectious diseases. Here, infectious diseases. The another name for the infectious diseases is known as communicable diseases. Then what does that mean? Or which diseases are made it into this group? And here the point is, if you take the diseases that get spread from one person to the another person, which are able to get spread from person to person, are known as infectious diseases or communicable diseases. Whereas non-infectious diseases, what does that mean? Non-infectious diseases are the diseases that do not get transfer from person to person. They never get a transfer from person to person. Such a kind of diseases are technically known as infectious diseases or non-communicable diseases. Let me give some example in this case. Here the infectious disease, common cold can get spread from person to person. Chicken pox can get spread from person to person. Right now we are all suffering from coronavirus, can get spread from person to person. And even the malaria and typhoid, dengue, such a kind of all the diseases are there which can get spread from one person to another person. All these are here known as infectious diseases. Then what about the non-infectious diseases? And these are the diseases are not get transfer from person to person. For example, if I am suffering from the heart diseases and this heart disease will not get transferred to anyone else, those who are here moving with me, playing with me, and they are here working with me, so this never get transfers. If at all I am suffering from diabetes, if I am suffering from the BP, and if I have got paralysis, if I have got here color blindness, and these kind of diseases will not be get transferred from person to person. So such a kind of diseases are known as non-communicable diseases. Coming to this here, infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases also can classified into the various types. Let us see now here. Coming to this infectious diseases are made it into two groups. One is contagious disease, whereas the second one is non-contagious disease. Then what it is, you have to keep it in the mind. In the both cases, they do can get spread from person to person. This is the point that you need to keep it in the mind. Then what makes the difference between the contagious and non-contagious? And here the point is, in case of contagious, if a disease can get spread from person to person through direct contact, is a point. Here it happens direct contact, then such a kind of diseases are known as contagious diseases. For example, direct contact in the sense giving shake hand, hugging, kissing on cheeks, on lips, taking part in a sexual intercourse. And here all these are comes under the direct contact. If an infected person coming to a direct contact with a healthy one, then certain kind of diseases are get transmitted. Then they are known as here contagious diseases. Example here, the chicken pox, if I am suffering from the chicken pox, if someone come into contact with me directly, then it get transfers. And even the common cold also is a few of the examples for these contagious diseases. Whereas non-contagious diseases, Of course, they do get transfer from person to person, but not because of a direct contact. There must be some here agent which involves in carrying the disease causing pathogen from infected person to a healthy one. So various types of means are there. You know, here the mosquitoes are there which can get spread. The filariasis, malaria, such a kind of diseases. And even the chikungunya is also there, dengue is also there which can get transmitted. And even the houseflies also involved in transmission of here the diseases like cholera and typhoid. So these are all the agents take part in transmission of the disease, but these diseases will not get transferred directly, but they all get transmitted because of a certain kind of agents that they are known as here contagious diseases. Right, coming to the classification of non-infectious diseases, and they're all made it into here almost all 6 different groups. Let us see all these non-communicable diseases and their categories. The first one is deficiency diseases. I said already regarding the balanced diet. The balanced diet, it includes various types of nutrients like here carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, fats, and here different kind of even lipids also there. So all these things whenever you take in a required quantity, then you will be healthy. If one or another nutrient is deficient, definitely it leads to diseases in us. Let me here tell a few of the examples in this regard. If at all vitamin A, if it is deficient, you do get here night blindness, is one thing. Then if you get here a B vitamin deficiency, it leads to beriberi. If at all vitamin C, scurvy deficiency, and vitamin D deficiency leads to rickets. And meanwhile, if the insulin is a hormone is deficient in our body, it leads to diabetes, a disease in us. So various types of enzymes, various types of proteins, as well as certain types of vitamins, and even the carbohydrates and lipids also deficient in our body, finally they do leads to variety of diseases. So when certain here thing is not available to our body in a required quantity, then it is considered as the deficiency. Whereas degenerative diseases, when your organ here is not functions properly, for example, if your joints are not functions properly, then you may get here arthritis disease. If your pancreas, particularly isolates of Langerhans in your pancreas is malfunctions or it is get disintegrated, then you do get a disease. So one or another body organ or a tissue in your body is get degenerated, it may leads to here the diseases in us. They are all together known as degenerative here diseases. Whereas allergic diseases, then allergic condition, in this condition actually if any foreign body it enter in our body, our immunity system here responds aggressively against to that. It doesn't suits to us. In that condition you do develop certain kind of symptoms, and here by taking the antihistamine drugs and all, you can get a relief from these allergies. The example for the allergens here like pollen grains and all, and here animal here hair of an animal, and they're all here may leads to allergies in us. So in forthcoming classes I do detailedly explain about all these things in a detailed way. Thereafter here the cancer, and there are different types of cancers here occurs in the body, and here the cancer it means here the cell division here it loses its control. So uncontrolled cell division leads to formation of tumors, and finally they get turns into the cancers. And these diseases will not get transfers from person to person. And this is one more thing about all these things also we will see here in a detailed way. And when your mental condition is not good, then you will be here considered as a mentally not well-being. So the way you think, the way you behave, the way you speak, if it is get here affected, then you will be a mental here illness that you do have. Thereafter the addiction is one more thing. So this is one more important concept we will see in this class. Right, coming to here addiction, tobacco addiction, alcohol addiction, and addiction to a various types of drugs. So definitely it causes the great damage to our body organs and organ systems, and it leads to finally various types of diseases. So these are all the various types of here diseases that comes under the non-communicable or non-infectious. So So this is the total classification of diseases. So in the coming session, I do start explaining about each and every type of disease that are all caused by the various types of pathogens like bacterial diseases, viral diseases, fungal, protozoan as well as helminthic diseases in a detailed way we will see in the forthcoming class. Thank you all.